Today is Friday, January 8th. Welcome to this edition of Nevada County Now. Today's episode, we're talking vaccine info, political upheaval, COVID news, and more. Hello and welcome to Nevada County Now. I'm your host, Cole Pettit. We've seen an increase of 306 COVID-19 cases since our last update, bringing our total to 2,854 confirmed cases. 584 cases are currently active with 13 hospitalizations. Our regional ICU availability currently sits at 9.2%, well below the 15% that was the trigger point for the stay-at-home order, and as such, we remain under the stay-at-home order for now. The death toll has remained the same. Our total currently sits at 50. Taylor Wolf, Public Information Officer for the County of Nevada, is joining us again for an update. Let's see what she's got for us today. All right, so I'm joined once again by Taylor Wolf, Public Information Officer for the County of Nevada. Thanks for joining us once again, Taylor.
Thank you, Cole, for having me on.
Absolutely.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah. So you've got another COVID update for us, letting us know a little bit about testing site stuff and vaccines. What do you got for us?
So this Saturday, so tomorrow, we are adding another 165 tests by adding a Saturday day. So we're moving from 5 days a week for our Grass Valley testing site to 6 days a week. This represents about a 15% increase in our daily testing capacity. So this is great news. While we were on the call earlier, Cole, we just looked and there is testing appointments for tomorrow, all day tomorrow, Saturday. So if you have maybe come in close contact or are feeling symptomatic for COVID-19, highly encourage you to go to lhi.care/COVID testing and book a no-cost COVID-19 testing appointment. And the testing turnaround time is still remaining really good for our Grass Valley site as well. So we're increasing the capacity and we're still hearing that people are receiving their results about 2 days more or less after they take their test. So some more good news there as well. Yeah, absolutely. That is great news. I know at some point there were a little bit of struggles here and there with getting results back quickly. But yeah, it's great to know that that's now resolved. Do you have anything else to add with regard to COVID that you think people need to know? Yeah, I think, as we keep encouraging people to do, we have this light at the end of the tunnel with vaccines. But even as people are starting to get their vaccines, more and more vaccines and people getting the vaccine are happening in our community, we still need to be really, really diligent about keeping those modifications in place. Staying home except for essential needs, wearing your mask, social distancing, refraining from gatherings. These are all tools to help stop this pandemic. And we're learning more and more about COVID-19 every day and how the vaccine will help stop it. So we really want people to continue to stay really, really diligent while we work through this vaccine administration as quickly as possible for our community. Thanks, Taylor. This week, we were also fortunate to be joined by Kimberly Parker, Executive Director of the Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital Foundation. Kimberly has agreed to join us a couple of times a month to share information on health-related topics. This week, she will be telling us about vaccines, specifically the COVID-19 vaccines. Let's take a look.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kimberly Parker, and I am Executive Director of Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital Foundation. I'm very excited to be joining Nevada County Now program. My goal is to share with you information and updates both on Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital and Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital Foundation. Over time, I hope to cover a wide variety of topics that you all are interested in, but honestly, right now, the question I'm asked all the time and what seems to be top of mind for most people is, how is the hospital doing with COVID-19? And what about this darn thing vaccine? So first of all, I want to just tell you that I'm so proud of the hospital and all of our healthcare workers and employees at the hospital and how they've managed through this pandemic. At first we started with very few cases, and as you've seen the numbers grow and surge in Nevada County, we have seen more hospitalizations at Sierra Nevada, but they are still manageable. I think the highest number at any given time has been 15, and we're way down from that now. And The supplies are doing well, the staff's doing well, and we're hoping that, if people did, watch their interactions during the holidays, that, we may start to see our numbers continue to go down. And while I know most of us are very anxious to find out about when the vaccine is going to be given out into our community at large, a lot of people think that's the hospital's role, but it really isn't. That's Nevada County's role. They do the community-wide work on that. And so I would encourage those that are interested in learning more about that to go to the Nevada County website, and they do have a specific area on the vaccine. So currently our healthcare workers, our essential care workers, are getting vaccinated. And in the first week, we were able to give out about 406 doses. And I have to say there were very few, really no complications at all. The two primary vaccines that are being given are Pfizer and Moderna. And the other question that I get asked a lot is, why do these vaccines have to have two doses? So Pfizer, in studies that occurred, found that 50% of people, the vaccine was effective after a first shot, whereas 95% of people were effective after the second shot. And so that's why the second shot is given 21 days later. And with Moderna, it's 28 days later. Currently, there are about 230 vaccinations being developed worldwide. And, someday there may be a single shot vaccine, but right now, these are the two that we really have to work with on this. The other reason that vaccines require two shots is it takes your body time to recognize the virus and get your immune system ready for the second shot, which is why it strengthens then your body's response, its immune response to the virus. And this helps, of course, into fighting the overall infection. It may take a couple weeks for your body to develop the cells that will make you immune after taking the first shot, which is why the 21 and 28 days that you see with both Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. It is possible to get sick still after the first shot, which is why it is very important that you continue to maintain your COVID protocols and do what is best. Anyone with health concerns should certainly speak to your physician, especially if you have severe allergies. However, the reactions for most, if you get any at all, are very similar to flu shot reactions. Things like injection site redness, a little bit of fatigue, muscle and joint pain, some headaches. Some people get a little bit more severe reactions with like fever, vomiting, and diarrhea, but that's very rare. Two important notes about side effects is that while some vaccine side effects may feel similar to like a flu or COVID-19, you cannot get COVID-19 from the vaccine. So that's very important that you know that. Also, even if you experience mild side effects, it's really important that you go ahead and have that second dose. There's still a lot of questions regarding how long immunity will last. And, we really don't have enough data on either. If you have COVID, can you get COVID again? It's been rare, but there have been a few cases where that's happened. And there's really no data in yet that is talking about how long the vaccine will last. And so as more people get the vaccine, more data will become available on that. It's why it's important to continue to mask, socially distance, wash hands, sanitize, etc. As I mentioned, Nevada County is setting a plan for distribution. You can go to their website at My Nevada County and get more information on that. My name again is Kimberly Parker. I'm happy to talk to you. If you'd like to reach me, you can do so at info@dignityhealth.org. Until next time, I wish you good health.
Thanks, Kimberly. As part of their educational series, the League of Women Voters of Western Nevada County will be hosting a Zoom webinar focusing on the newly created Community Crisis Team. The Community Crisis Team is being launched by the Nevada County Sheriff's Department in partnership with the Nevada County Behavioral Health Department. The Grass Valley Police Department recently received a grant which will also enable them to provide a police officer and a crisis worker from Hospitality House. The program presenters will be Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Moon, Director of the Nevada County Behavioral Health Department Phoebe Bell, Grass Valley Police Chief Alex Gamelgard, Executive Director of Hospitality House Nancy Baglietto, and Nevada City Police Chief Chad Ellis. The webinar takes place next Friday, January 15th at 10:30 a.m. You can find the link to join the Zoom webinar on the League's website, which will be listed below. There will also be a question and answer period after the initial presentation. You can submit your question at info@lwvwnc.org. This week saw more political upheaval across the nation and, to a limited extent, even here locally. Sonora Slater is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Cole. On Wednesday of this week, a joint session of Congress met to certify Electoral College votes, including those from states that have been met by claims of election fraud, in order to proceed with the confirmation of President-elect Joe Biden on January 20th. In response, a large group of Trump supporters gathered at the U.S. Capitol building to protest in support of their belief that President Trump was the true victor of the election. However, proceedings soon turned violent, and hundreds of rioters stormed the building, breaking windows and climbing walls to get inside. National news like this can sometimes feel distant from our small town, but the events that transpired in our nation's capital this week were certainly found to be important by members of the Nevada County community. Many took to social media to publicly decry the violence, expressing anger at the injustice that they saw displayed in photos and videos of the riots, as well as at the Trump supporters who had chosen to cause chaos and damage rather than properly and peacefully utilize their constitutional right to assembly and petition. There was also a small gathering of Stop the Steal protesters in Grass Valley, who had similar complaints to those in Washington, D.C. regarding the election, but in contrast held a mostly peaceful event. According to an article published by the Union, while these protesters have expressed skepticism about the validity of the Electoral College results, they are against spreading hate or vengeance in the community, and have said that they will stand by the Senate's decision on the confirmation of Biden. Slightly further away geographically, but still certainly relevant to residents of Nevada County, counter-protesters clashed at the California State Capitol in Sacramento. This resulted in road closures, a large police presence, and several arrests. Such polarizing scenes can be disheartening, as it sometimes feels that the news lately is a constant stream of violent disagreement. How can we do our part to make sure that our community is a place that fosters peaceful and open-minded political discussion, so as not to fall into a place of violence? According to an article published by the Society for Personality and Social Psychology, there are two types of political polarization. Ideological polarization comes from increasingly different views on issues, while affective polarization leads people to make generalizations in their beliefs that members of other political groups are immoral or unintelligent. Research suggests that affective polarization has increased more than ideological polarization in recent years, with political psychologists Nathan Calmo and Liliana Mason finding that almost half of the Americans they surveyed perceive the opposing political party as evil. However, other studies show that those with higher levels of intellectual humility, or a willingness to evaluate the accuracy of one's beliefs, and even change them if presented with compelling evidence that they are wrong, also have significantly lower levels of affective polarization. While political polarization is not new and isn't going away anytime soon, if Nevada County strives to be a place that fosters intellectual humility, we may be able to better create a community that both decries violence and avoids generalizations regarding the morality of ideological opposites. Back to you, Cole.
Thanks, Sonora. Nevada Irrigation District is celebrating a milestone in 2021 as the district enters its 100th year of operation. The district has unveiled an anniversary logo, a new website will be coming soon, and NID is publishing a full-color history book detailing the milestones and telling the story of the districts through the past 100 years. The book will be released during the summer and will be available as a hardbound volume, as well as a digital version, which will be available to be viewed and downloaded on the NID website. Additional celebration activities are planned, including tours of a district water treatment plant, as well as watershed health and other important community projects. Also, NID's new website will feature a blog spotlighting interesting topics, historic photos, and fun facts. Stay tuned, further information will be announced throughout the year. Learn more at nidwater.com. Winter break has come to a close for most students, which means a return to school either with distance learning or hybrid in-person learning, depending on the district. Nevada County Superintendent of Schools Scott Lay released a letter this morning that touches on what's required of staff and students and the steps the superintendent's office is taking to address potential issues. It reads in part, all staff and students are required to maintain the COVID-19 protocol established.
All staff and students are requested.
Requested, okay. Should I just start?
All
It
staff.
reads, oh, okay, all staff?
Start all staff.
Okay. All staff and students are requested to maintain the COVID-19 protocol established at each school site. This includes daily health checks, please stay home if you're sick, good hand hygiene, face coverings, and physical distancing. If you or your student has been exposed to COVID-19 or experienced symptoms of it, please contact your school nurse or administrator for testing, quarantine, and isolation recommendations. To help our schools achieve the goal of in-person learning, the Nevada County Superintendent of Schools Office will start COVID testing of symptomatic school staff starting January 19th. This is to ensure a timely return of testing results to allow staff back in the classroom. We have also increased our substitute teaching list in the last month to help with the substitute teacher shortage we have faced in Nevada County. We hope these two measures expedite a safe return to the classroom. That will conclude the show for this week. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay safe, take care of each other. We'll see you next week.